Okay, let's start round 11. We're going to start in the normal way, which is 2 chain to get our hook where it needs to be, and the old familiar 2 front post trebles. So I don't know if you're kind of joining us now. Front post trebles just means we're putting our hook behind the post of the treble from the previous round rather than in the top of the stitch. And then we're just completing a treble in absolutely the normal way. Okay, so our normal front post trebles are complete. Now we've come down from 3 trebles to 1 treble on the previous round. Now we're going to go to no trebles at all. So we're just going to put 1 chain in to hop us across over to doing 2 front post trebles on the other side of the petal. And that's really obviously now pulling the 2 edges of the petal much closer together. Let's have a look at that when I've done those 2 front post trebles. You can see that it's closing it right up to a point, and I don't know whether, yeah, we're going to be closing it up even further on the next round, but for now we've just dispensed with our trebles on our petals altogether, so the body of the petal, if you like, is complete. We're just finishing up the outlining. And now working between the petals, we'll open that up even more. And what we're going to be doing there is we're going to do our regular 2 chain to hop us across to starting work on the piece between the petals. And we're going to, in each end, so we've still got 3 trebles going on in the middle, we've just got more space in between them, but in each of the ends or the outside of those trebles, we're going to expand those out even more by doing a 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble into each of those. So let's see what that looks like. So I've done my 2 chain to hop me over, and in the top of the first treble, like I said, I'm going to do 1 treble and then 2 chain again, but instead of moving over, I'm going to put another treble in the same space, so into here. Okay, and what that's done, oh, look at my yarn bath coming over. Let's get that out of the way. And what that has done is just kind of given me a triangular shape there, which will open out this middle part even more. Okay, so 2 more treble, and then in the center of the treble from the round before, we're just going to be doing 1 straightforward standalone treble. Look at it creeping in again. Look at it. Like a sneaky octopus. Right, sorry about that. And then 2 more chain again. And we're going to repeat that sort of triangle opening out situation again in here, which is the 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble. Let's see what that looks like. 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble, straight back in where we came. And we're going to finish up with our trusty old 2 chain. Okay, so if I, do you know what, I'm just going to quickly anchor it with 1 front post treble, just so we can look at what the completed kind of repeat looks like. There we go. Okay, so look at that. Oh gosh, it's really pretty, isn't it? So I'm going to walk you through the repeat for this round. So we started over here, front post treble, 1 chain sitting across the top here, front post treble, 2 chain. Then we've got that 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble going into the first treble from the previous round, 2 chain, 1 treble going into the middle treble from the previous round, 2 chain, and then again 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble going into the third treble from the previous round. And we're finishing up our repeat with the 2 chain, just to get to kind of skip us over to start again. So that is what our repeat for round 11 looks like. Really pretty, I think. And I'll finish that up and we'll see what it looks like when it's all done. I've just finished the last repeat of round 11 and I'm going to fasten off. And if you're, I don't know, if you want a little tip on this, because we're pulling it through from, pulling the loop through from the back to the front, just make sure your hook goes over the top of the working yarn, else it's all going to be in the wrong position to start when you come to the next round. So just putting my hook through the last sorry, the top of the first front post treble from the last round. Where's the yarn? Giving that a little pull round to tighten it up, and then pulling the loop through. And the yarn, working yarn, is now where it needs to be. Okay, so that is the end of round 11. And let's just have a little look. It's very pretty, isn't it? Let's have a look on our Here's One I Made Earlier, just to see how we're getting on. So if I line the centres up, I have to pull it all the way down here now. Oh, very well indeed. You can see we've got very little of our petals left. Not too much of this pretty bit in the middle. So we're getting close to, you know, completing a mandala. Absolutely lovely. So let's move on to round 12. Okay, here we go with round 12. Round 12 is very exciting because at the moment we've got 4 front post trebles, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to take it down to 3 front post trebles, which is really going to make close our petal up and give it a nice point. So I'll show you how to do that. So to start with, we're going to just do 2 chain, as we've been doing all the way around, to get our hook into the correct position. And we're going to start with 1 front post treble, just the same as before. So no change there. But the next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn these 2, which I'm sort of pointing out with my thumbs, these 2 front post trebles, we're going to treble them to work them together to take them down to be 1 front post treble. Don't panic, it's dead easy, let me show you. So we're going to just start in the normal way, so yarn around the hook, hook behind the post of the front post treble, just completely familiar. Bring our loop through, yarn over and through 2 loops on the hook, and I'm going to stop there and leave 2 loops on the hook. Okay, I'm then going to immediately start the next front post treble in the next front post treble stitch. So yarn around my hook again, hook around the back of the post of the next front post treble, bring my yarn through. Can you see I've now got 4 loops on my hook, yarn over and through 2, and I've got 3 left now, and what I'm going to do is yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook, thus. So what I've done is I've taken 2 front post trebles there, the 2 kind of innermost ones on my petal. I've taken the 2 of them and I've worked them together to make 1 stitch. So when I look at the top of my work, I've got 1 front post treble there, which is the first one I worked, and I've got 2 front post treble, which is those 2 that I worked together. Okay, we're now going to finish up this little part by doing 1 more front post treble around this outermost front post treble from the previous rounds. And lo and behold, we've gone down from 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're now going to have 3 going forward. Very lovely, very clever, very petal shaped. It's beautiful, isn't it? Very clever. Okay, so if we've taken some width out of our petal here, we know we've got to add some in here, and we're going to do that in the same way that we have on the previous round, which is to use this little triangular piece here, which is 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble. All right, in the outermost stitches, but with a little twist. Let me show you. So we're using, we're making 2 chain as usual to hop over to our first stitch. But what we're going to be doing is the same as before. So treble and 2 chain and treble right back into the same stitch, just as before. But here's where it differs. We're going to do exactly the same thing in the next stitch over. We don't need to put any chains across the top or anything, because that triangle is going to naturally sit where it needs to without any spacing between it. So here we go again then. So treble into the top of the next stitch, 2 chain, 1 and 2, and treble again right back into the stitch where we've just put 1 treble. So let's just stop and look there. Okay, so you can see we're kind of building this triangular section, aren't we? We've got 1 triangle from the previous round and we put 2 on the top of it. Beautiful, very, very clever. Okay, we are now going to Whoops, can't get my hook back in. Right, we're now going to hop over to the top of the next treble. And again, because we've created this sort of triangle, you can see my hook sits right at the top of the next treble over. So we don't need to do any spacing at all. So we're straight in with one treble. No chains at all. Okay, and we're going to do those two little triangles, one in the top of each of these stitches now. So yarn over. First treble goes in the top there, 2 chain, second treble goes right back in where you came from. Okay, and then the same again into the last treble from the previous round. So put a treble in the top and 2 chain and a treble straight back in where the first one was. And we're just going to finish up this round with the 2 chain, just as before. I'm going to take my hook out and just show you what that looks like. Isn't it beautiful? So we've really closed off that petal beautifully now. And I think we've just got one more thing. Have we got one more? Yes, we've got one more thing to work here to give it a point. And we've opened up the centre. With this, is it lattice? I don't know if it's lattice. It's not lattice crochet, but it's, you know, lattice work effect in the middle here. So let's just do a quick walk through. As they're getting a bit more complicated, it might help you. I get in an awful pickle with this sort of crochet, so sorry if I'm going overboard, but just in case there's anyone else out there who gets in a pickle like I do. So here we go, let's walk it through. We've done one front post treble. We've front post trebled these 2 stitches together to form that point. We've done another front post treble, 2 chain, then we've done 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble, and then we've done another 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble in the next stitch along. Then we've just moved along and done 1 treble in that center treble, so we're bringing that line all the way up. Then 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble in the next treble, and 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble in that last outside treble from the previous round, and finishing our repeat with the 2 chain to hop us over to start the next one around. Okay, so that is a very beautiful repeat from round 12. I'm going to finish, I'm going to go all the way around and show you it when it's completed. Okay, so here we are at the end of round 12. I've completed 8 repeats of the pattern, so I've got very nice petally shaped petals, and we've opened out the kind of latticey, trellisy part in the middle, and it's all looking really rather beautiful. So I think without further ado, we should move on to round 13.